Finally, I'm back again after a month of my last video, and honestly, you've probably been waiting for this one. This is going to be the top things that I absolutely hate in video games. And then I'll go back to doing better games, but I'm kind of wondering, what am I going to do next? Anyway, this is the top 10 hateable things in video games for me. Number 1. I mean, no, not number 1. Number 10. Bland as hell levels. Now, this is an obvious one. Everyone hates levels that look unimpressive. Here's looking at you again, Earthworm Jim 3D. I think Video Game Confession says it all, and because back in the 16-bit era, levels were so beyond creative and so brilliant looking that it wasn't even funny. What happened to the creativity as soon as they jumped to 3D platforming? Not to mention there were those annoying platforms that took you a bajillion tries to get on. I mean, there were PS1 games that I came across that looked friggin' brilliant. And then there were... And not to mention there are PS2 games that look awesome. And then PS3, Xbox, and the up-and-coming PS4 and Xbox One, which I think are completely unfrickin' necessary, also have levels that do look really nice. Honestly, I'd rather stick with my PS2 and my Wii, thank you very much. Because what's the point of updating your consoles if they'll be dated in a week? Plus, the consoles are beyond expensive. Anyway, bland levels. No one likes them. Obvious part on the list. But if it's intended to be bland, like the Game & Watch games, and there's certain stages in Super Smash Bros. That add creativity as they go along, they're okay. Number 9. Story arcs that go absolutely nowhere. Here's looking at you, Gun. Seriously, there are so many story arcs in video games that go nowhere because the character dies and they don't get closure on their lives. Let me think. Well, I wouldn't exactly count Solid Snake in the list, even though I still think he's freaking boring, and I still think the guy who came before him, Big Boss, is still better. But Snake does have one moment that goes absolutely nowhere. That teasing romance between him and Eva. Oh wait, my mistake. No, not Eva. Meryl. Let's see. Meryl gets married in Metal Gear Solid 1, and who is Snake left with? Absolutely freaking nobody. So we play as this guy for, well, not counting Metal Gear Solid 3 because of the guy who came before him. We play as this guy for 2.5 games, and his story arc goes nowhere. Let's see, there was also the relationship between Jenny and Colton and Gunn. There are multiple relationships in modern games that go nowhere. Then actually, now that I think about it, most of them are romances. Anyway, story arcs that go nowhere. Do I really have to say anything else? Number 8, QuickTime events. I'm okay with these ones because they build up the tension and they get you ready, but when you're sitting back, kicking, relaxing, and not knowing that a certain part of the game that has QuickTime events, you put down your controller for a little bit, and you just watch the cutscene go by. And then all of a sudden, Krauser comes in and he gets ready to stab you across the chest. You hurry to get your controller up, and then whoosh, you're dead. That's the problem I had with Krauser in Resident Evil 4. He was the only character I really hated fighting in Resident Evil 4, because he killed me more times than any other boss in the game. The reason people hate QuickTime events is because they come when they're not expected. And sometimes they switch the button combination on you. Also an example in Resident Evil 4, because sometimes it's just L1, R1, and other times it's circle and square. Or it's square and X or circle and X. Anyway, they come completely unprepared, and they usually end up with the next They usually end with the next entry on the list. Number 7, one-hit deaths. Need I say more? This is everywhere in the 8-bit and 16-bit era. Even in the 64-bit era, the instant kills were everywhere. Again, Resident Evil 4, you know, chainsaw guy cuts your head off. We know that. It's not like you're going to recover from a chainsaw attack. They just wanted to make the game realistic. Let's see. Tomb Raider, all versions. Every game in the 16-bit and from the 16-bit and 8-bit era. The only game that I can think of that doesn't have instant deaths is Pitfall: The Lost Expedition. I'm going to get to that one later. That's my next plan. Anyway, because in Pitfall: The Lost Expedition, you could jump down, you could fall down a hole multiple times. It's a pitfall, but you don't die instantly. It just shoots you right back up and takes a health bar away. So the game is incredibly fair when it comes to your life. But the boss battles are so ridiculously hard, it's not even worth it. Well, okay, I wouldn't call them ridiculously hard, just the final boss. Anyway, instant deaths. Need I say more? Number 6, I think we are. Yeah, 6. Oh, God, what was I gonna do? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. No, I'm not going to do that. What'll it be? Ah, yes. Overpowered and monotonous bosses. This is where I kick into one of the games that a lot of people hate, but I just adore. Resident Evil 6. When I got to Ada's campaign, and needless to say, I enjoyed it. When I finally got to the boss of fighting Simmons, I was sitting in the chopper, blasting a machine gun away, shooting a couple of missiles at him, and he just won't freaking die. I guess this is one of the things that they really hated in the games, because the boss just goes on and on and on, and it never freaking ends. And plus, there are some times when the boss can be really overpowered, and there's nothing you can do about it, but just shoot, shoot, shoot. This is everywhere in the... This was also everywhere in the Atari era, the 8-bit era, the 16-bit era, even the 64-bit era, and it's still going on today. What the hell? Anyway, overpowered and monotonous bosses. You just want to shut off the game while beating them, and you're like, okay, there is nothing at the end of the game that is going to make up for this. Actually, I can name one. I can actually name that Resident Evil 6 was the one that gave me quite a satisfying ending. Okay, it could have been better, but it was still good. So, need I say more about long and monotonous bosses? Number 5. Oh god, I can't believe we're only at number 5. Annoying boss battles. No. This is different. This isn't monotonous, or it isn't overpowered. Okay, it's a little overpowered. But this is boss battles that you just can't seem to win. Now, there's one boss that easily comes to mind when it comes to this. Jasper Bat Jr. You all know how bad this guy is. Like I said, his boss battle goes from kind of easy to contra difficult, and just like that. You gotta fight him in 3 stages. This is more than a boss battle that you just can't win. This is a boss battle with an unsatisfying ending. After going through a ton and a half of trial and error, multiple deaths, one-hit deaths. Oh yeah, I forgot, he knocks you out a window if you're close to a window, which takes up most of his room, so you can easily see how he's annoying. Plus, you gotta hear his painfully, ear-rakingly bad laugh. It's just horrible. Plus, he dies with a stupid-looking grin on his face. Ugh. If it were possible, I would just go right into the game and bash his head in. Makes me actually want to become Travis Touchdown. So, you could probably guess how I feel about annoying boss battles. So, let's continue. Number 4, repetitive dialogue. You know what I'm getting at with this one. Bosses that won't shut the hell up and have the same damn dialogue over and over and over again. Yeah, let me see. The Duck Hunt Dog, the Beetle from Donkey Kong 64, Dr. Eggman from Shadow the Hedgehog. You know what I mean. Ugh! You know, it is moments like this that these games make me want to just jump right into them, punch the bosses in the face, and keep punching them till they die. Let's see. I can't hear the 8-bit laugh from the Duck Hunt Dog, the 64-bit laugh of the Beetle from Donkey Kong 64, and I can't hear, you know what they say, the more the merrier, the same way again, because these bosses. Anyway, repetitive dialogue. Oh wait, there's one little moment that I gotta remember. When, if you've ever played the game Bayonetta, which is freaking awesome by the way, one of the guys mentions you're liable to wake Eggman back from the dead, and he said, we certainly don't want that, don't we? And I was like, thank you, sir. Last thing we need is his dialogue at ruining this absolutely awesome and epic game. Okay, I just wanted to say that. Number 3. Never-ending enemies. Let me think. GoldenEye, Call of Duty, Halo. Pretty much every first-person shooter out there. The enemies just never end. They just keep coming. Especially with Alec Trevelyan for GoldenEye. God, I hate that son of a bitch. But you could probably guess what I mean by this. Number 2. Let me think. Yes. Escort missions. This is more of the case that the video game nerds will probably kill me if I don't put it on the list. Now, I can see why people don't like this. Now, let's be fair, BioShock Infinite was one of the games that got escort missions done right. And your character actually helps you out. But with games like, I don't know, Earthworm Jim and Resident Evil 4, a lot of people tend to hate they tend to hate escort missions. While personally, I think they're fine. I have fun with them because I'm a naturally protected person. But this is just a case that the nerds would kill me if I didn't add this. Number 1, last but not least, forced failure. I really hate this. Because, like I said in my gun review, you go through all this trouble, die multiple times, have your partner die multiple times, go through trial and error over and over and over again until you finally get to the cutscene that you've been waiting for, and then you finally get a plot twist, everything goes great, and then all of a sudden the person you're trying to protect or yourself dies in the end. Let me think. Gun, Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Revolver, a ton and a half of first-person shooter games. God, this is everywhere. Why do we have to have games where you go through a lot of trouble to get something done, and then all of a sudden it was all for nothing? That's what I really hate. So, that was my top 10 things that I hate in video games. If you like seeing me angry, then kudos to you. Whatever, I'm out of here. See you next time.